CA. And Jeanette, you met Garou.
Speaking
not
of
his
men
name,
and
is it?
hair
It's not his
color, it's
real
kind
name.
of that's not his real name. Actually, his real name is Pierre Garand. He told me a story about this. He said that in high school, his friends called him Garou, and so when he was cast for Notre Dame de Paris, Luc Plamondon, who had written Notre Dame de Paris, said, "Well, we can't put that name up on the poster because that's Robert Charlebois' nickname." And Garou said, "Well, that's my name. That's my stage name. That's what I've been going up. But we can't do that." But so they went back and forth a little bit. And in the end, Garou kept his Garou nickname, a stage name, and became famous, incredibly famous because of that show. So I talked to him about a new album. It's called Rhythm and Blues. It was recorded in London, England. And here's a bit of that conversation. What's your name? Why are we calling you Garou?
Pierre is my first name, and Garand is my family name. So from Garand, when I was in school, in the secondary school, I was 13 years old, and my friends started calling me Garou instead of Garand because we very often called people by their family name. So it went from Garand to Garou, and we kept it. And when I started to sing, I'll always remember Luc Plamondon, who wrote Notre Dame de Paris, told me it's impossible. We cannot write Garou on the poster because a lot of people in the business call Robert Charlebois Garou. So it's impossible. We cannot do that. And I said, well, it's my name. All my friends call me Garou. And finally, I kept it. I'm happy about it.
And that's how you're known in France too.
Yeah, everybody knows me as Garou, and in France and lots of all the URSS countries. I do lots of shows in Russia, Ukraine, Poland, and they all know Garou. Sometimes we laugh, saying maybe I should change for Garouski, but I didn't.
How did you get? This is a sidebar, but how did you get performing in those countries?
Depending on the countries, actually, in Poland, they're so open-minded with cultures, with different languages. It's true that in Russia, there might be a little movement, a little anti-American, and so they won't connect only to English. They like to be open to other cultures. So you listen to radio in Russia, you hear some German songs, some English songs, of course, some French songs, some Spanish songs. It's very interesting. And in Poland, in 2002, I got Song of the Year with a French song. So it's fabulous to be able to have, to be a soldier of the French language in foreign countries.
What song was that?
It was Gitan from the first album. That became a big number one. And in Russia, Notre Dame de Paris played in Russian, but the album that sold is the French one.
Very nice, very nice. So why R&B, rhythm and blues?
Rhythm
It's recorded in London. No wonder you're talking about
Yes, London, England, though. And it was the perfect from years, because here I did lots of clubbing. Maybe some people, some listeners would remember the Untouchables was my band. I was playing in lots of clubs in Quebec and doing some soul and rhythm and blues. And I love that band. And lots of people in 15 years of career, they told me, why you never do what you were doing before in the clubs and everything? Why don't you do it? And finally came the time. Maybe one of the reasons is why it's because there's that movement of new soul now, like Amy Winehouse, Duffy, Plan B, which is a band I worked with for the album. That's why I worked in London with these guys. Adele, that we know today, is the new soul. And lots of young people now, they know about R&B, but they don't even know what R&B came from. It's from rhythm and blues, and it's a strange evolution that it did, because for me it's very often very far from the roots of rhythm and blues. But that's what I wanted to do, was to create a modern, a new way to do rhythm and blues, like it had evolved in a different way.
Okay. So what did that involve? How would you see it evolving differently?
It's pretty close to soul. So working with these guys that did the Plan B band, they knew about modernizing soul So rhythm and blues is so close. It's a little more dirty, I would say. So that's what we did.
How do you define dirty?
Dirty, and the sound is more rock. It's more in the roots of the blues, which soul kind of lost that dirty, raw vibe of blues. And in the rhythm and blues, that's what we wanted to show more. And we, in many different songs, the album is half French, half English. And in English, it was much easier because it's known for that. Because if I ask who does rhythm and blues in French, I have no clue. So it was easier to find references in English, of course.
Okay. You have a little green bag on here, Hard to Handle, I Put a Spell on You, Lonely Boy, which I guess would be a contemporary R&B song. I don't know, do you want to pick Lonely Boy or pick something?
Lonely
Can
Boy,
you
I like.
talk? Okay, Lonely Boy. Why Lonely Boy?
I like the idea of Lonely Boy because it's from the Black Keys. It's very, very rock modern. So to take this and just add some elements, add a slice of foie gras on top, to put some a little more organic rhythm and blues into that. And lots of ideas were great. Like when I told the guys, hey, let's try a song from Alicia Keys, If I Ain't Got You, they all looked at me like, what do you want to do? This is like new R&B. It's not old. I said, no, let's try it. And we were trying lots of stuff like that, lots of fails, because we tried lots of songs that were like, nah, it doesn't work. We don't find the key. Let's try something else.
So did you happen to end up in London because you'd been in France doing the French version of The Voice?
I didn't want. It was fun because I did a part of my first album, Album Seul. I started it in London and then we finished in Los Angeles. But for this one, it's more we were scared of doing it or in Quebec or in France because it's not really the culture. And going to the States to do it would have been falling into the cliches of rhythm and blues too easily. And in England, there's that Brit sound that's very modern and always has the little touch in it. You don't know why, but it happens. But yes, I kind of know why because I've been very often to London, but this time I was more researching, trying to find why there's this vibe there. But everybody plays music. The CEO of the company has a band with the CFO, and everybody plays music. There's music everywhere in London. So that's probably why.
Do you ever feel that you're talking about your voice, and I immediately think Quasimodo? Is that a help or a hindrance, that role?
Some artists wouldn't like to be stuck with an image like this, but I'm very happy about it. And it was such a huge success beyond the language. It was way beyond French. And that's what opened the doors for me in so many countries that are not Francophone. And, doing a tour of venues of 5,000 people in Russia, it's a big chance in my life. It's fantastic. And I see they're Francophiles, but not that much. Not necessarily. Now they're into what I do.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thanks very much.
Garou!
And on our website, we will have my interview with him kind of mixed with the sound from the album. So because we can't play music on the podcast, you can't hear it here. But if you go to the cbc.ca/Montreal Daybreak website, you can hear the whole thing.